Hi guys, welcome to Tamra's Tarot Variety. Today is February 13th, 2021. Oh, I just don't even know where to start, you guys. So I'll start with, I'm going to be very methodical. This is the vibe I'm getting in this video. I'm going to start with welcoming Brandon Lee. Yay! Hi, Brandon. And he came in with my brother Freddy, and I prayed before this and I got really emotional. And my brother was coming in all different shapes and sizes. And so my brother has settled on coming. He's here and he's in his old, what is it called? Cub Scout uniform with all of his badges. And Brandon Lee is as a little boy, and he's in his karate outfit, and Bruce Lee is here too in the background, just watching over them in his karate outfit. Okay, good. It's just took me so long to get like motivated, prepared to do this. Brandon has been with me for a while, and it's been very methodical. And I watched The Crow last night, and it's interesting. I'll tell you why in a minute. I want to get into some details. So Brandon Lee is the son of Bruce Lee. He was the star of the movie The Crow, which has a cult following. So if you haven't seen that, please go and watch that. He was born September, sorry, Freddy, that's when you were born. Brandon Lee was born February 1st, 1965. There's so much symbolism, guys. So he started coming to me at the end of January, and I just sort of put him on the back burner, not understanding why he was coming. Well, he was an Aquarius, and as you all know, we had the Saturn-Neptune conjunction bringing us into the age of Aquarius. That happened February 21st. So Brandon's like the perfect person to come in. And he has a lot of messages, guys. So Brandon's father, Bruce Lee, died in 1973. And it's so interesting, guys, because my brother is here, Freddy. And the reason they came in together, Freddy was born September 2nd, 1965. And we were separated from, this is a long story, from our biological father, who's now here. Oh, I love you, Daddy. In 1973. So Brandon literally lost his father. Ours was like, we were estranged. It's a long story. And then Brandon passed March 31st, 1993, while making the movie The Crow. And he was 28. Brandon's father, Bruce Lee, passed when he was 32. So very close in age. And why is Brandon's coming to me for so many reasons. But these dates, so my brother Freddy passed when he was 50, and my biological father, James, who's here, hi, he was crouched down. Now he just sort of jumped, he sprang into action, and yeah, he's happy to be here. He's like, hell yeah. So my biological father, James, died when he was 49. So there's these similarities. I mean, there's so much similarity, so much symbolism. Brandon was coming in at the tail end of all the Gen Xers that I had. So I had Kurt Cobain here, Tupac Shakur. They're all piling in now. Biggie Smalls and Robin is coming in. Robin Williams. And now Mr. Rogers is coming in. It's super crowded. Okay, so this is all coming together. And I asked them, I said, just surprise me. Because I had written down so much. I do automatic writing. Okay, so everyone's coming in. Now, you guys, everyone was together during that. Everyone here was, you know, a big part of their life was during that time, 1965, 66, 67. Robin's a little bit older. Obviously, my father's older, Mr. Rogers and Bruce Lee. But, you know, they, you understand, it's a generation. And so Brandon Lee and my brother Freddy are Gen X, like I've said. They're giving me energy. They're indigo. And all these men have very strong messages for us. And you can check out my other videos with Robin Williams and with Mr. Rogers. They're all very protective. They've all been through a lot. Brandon probably had, not probably, he's telling me, had the easier life out of all of them. Everyone else had more struggle, but that's part of the generations. And, you know, my father's saying he was a boomer, and, you know, they had their own struggle. Sorry, it's like a party in here. And that's something I want to explain too, is for me being a medium, you know, I've had people say, you know, why didn't you tell me this, or why didn't you say that? You guys, it's like when you have a friend over, your friend is going to tell you what they want to tell you. You can ask them things, but I mean, Spirit's very open, but there are some things they're not going to say. And you know, it's just like talking to a friend. There's like a, hey, how you doing sort of period. Unless, you know, I've had Spirit come to me and say very specific things. So let's backtrack. Brandon's been with me since the end of January. Let's see here. Yes. Brandon was 8 when his father passed. Very significant. Brandon and my brother Freddy were very gentle souls, like masculine, but in touch with their femininity too. And, you know, Gen X is a very important generation for that. And the millennials are even more, if they want, more in touch with their masculine and feminine sides, both men and women. And there's a lot of exploration around that. And don't get me wrong that I'm trying to feminize men. I'm not. It's more of the exploration and the freedom. Actually, the freedom to do that could make some men even more in touch with their masculine side. So, okay, I can see where this is all going because I have these random notes. And yeah, let's I'm gonna get into the automatic writing, guys. So okay, some of you might be here, and I should have just said this in the beginning for those just exploring the internet looking for truths, and not all of these metaphysical messages. Brandon was, I have to use the right words. He died by accident. It was an accidental death. He's saying it was very negligent, but it was an accident, and he forgives all involved. And he says the people involved have suffered tremendous guilt. And so whoever's here for that, that's your answer. And Bruce Lee also died by accident. It was this old drug that's a combination of, it was like an aspirin, you know, this is the 70s mixed with, it's like a muscle relaxant. So they've gotten rid of that drug, and he's to be thanked for that too. It just made his brain swell. So this is gonna actually might get a little bit boring for some of you, but one of the reasons they're all here together, it's a male protection. And Brandon was saying that the movie The Crow was a low budget movie with a lot of young people working on it. And in our generation too, you have to understand, we they're making that joke. We walked to school both ways up the hill in snow. But seriously, guys, like so I started hustling when I was really young. Yeah, Fred, you too. We all did. Like, oh yeah, Biggie and Tupac are like, yeah, they really hustled. So I used to shovel snow, and I had so many odd jobs. But the reason why Brandon is coming through is our generation was, as tough as we were and sometimes slackers, we abused our bodies, and definitely at work. And so my brother, right before he passed, became an OSHA inspector, and that's short for Occupational Safety Health Administration. So guys, they're asking some of you out there to get into that, and especially, well, in all jobs, and you know, definitely film crews, but you're gonna see a trend towards safety. And that came up in I call it the big C19, that came up in that reading, that has come up for jobs that Spirit will favor in 2021. And okay, sorry, they're talking to okay. Let me have some water. It's so hard. Like I have a little ADD, but now I wonder if that's even, when I've realized I've always had spirits talking to me. Of course I have ADD. Maybe you all have experienced that too. So yes, Brandon said he knew that this was a concern of mine. So guys, I have retired early after 29 years of being a flight attendant because I'm injured. So I had been injured a few times at work, and this was just the straw that broke the camel's back, literally my back. They're laughing because, like, growing up, parents would say, like, we broke our backs working for you, they're laughing at me. They're like, you broke your back working. And I did. I had a great job, but just a few random accidents, and I haven't literally broken my back. I have herniated discs in my neck and my back. I told you guys this was going to get boring. I'm old, they're old. And you're probably watching this being like, I want to know about the crow. But, we're all cool. I mean, I could watch The Crow over and over. And I apologize, Brandon. I went through a weird phase. I think The Crow was made in 1993. And I was going through like this Euro phase. It was fun. I was going to Europe a lot and like going to these Euro clubs in Boston. And I didn't even see The Crow. And then I couldn't remember if I had seen it. I assumed I did. Everything blends together. And then I realized a couple years ago that I hadn't seen The Crow. And this is like a cocktail party we're having. And so Brandon, I did watch it a couple years ago and it was really cool. But then Brandon asked me to watch it last night before, just to get the vibe. And it was a really cool movie. It was really like dark and scary to me. And that's another thing. They're saying the world and the country, it was going that way. And there's always that chance. So guys, watch The Crow and let's do all we can. I've got my amethyst heart here. I'm going to hold it. Let's do all we can so that the future generations don't grow up in that like crow type setting, because that's a possibility, and that could happen quickly. So that's why they're here too. It's up to all of us to make sure that we live in a they're making jokes in a just, they're sounding like NPR. So they're very self-deprecating, which is hilarious. Now they're kind of talking as a group, but yeah, we have to make sure that we keep an eye on our environment so it doesn't look like the city in The Crow, and we have to be very civilized so to cut down on the crimes. And it's funny, in 2021, the psychic read that I got, they were talking a lot about fires. So I did that read in December, and they said there would be extreme weather, fires, but fires that people set, apartment fires, personal fires, forest fires. So we just have to really watch out for this, guys. And also make sure that we don't go into lawlessness. And they're saying poverty causes, you know, a lot of the issues that were in that movie, like gangs and, you know, crime, violence, all that stuff. Narcissism, those characters were really cold-hearted. Okay, so let's see. Yes, and also, you guys know I'm an actor, and so Brandon is talking about actors on the set and sacrificing for the show. Now that happened to me a lot. I had a head injury, and then I was offered to do a role, and the director, it was for an off-Broadway play, and the director gave me a script, you guys, that was like a book, and he wanted me to be the main character. And this director was a baby boomer, and you guys, this is how some of these people operate. He knew that it was too much, and he asked me to read at I think it was the middle of November, saying that we would be putting it up like the week before Christmas or the week of Christmas. And guys, like, I never would have memorized all of that after the head injury. And then, I mean, I was just so upset because I wanted to do this role for this director, writer, owner of the theater. And, it was a catch-22. I couldn't do it. And he was just so, I tried to reason with him, and he's like, "Oh, this is my baby." He had been working on this play. I tried to reason with him, guys. I said, if this is your baby, this is your theater. I said, why don't we just slowly start working on it? We could put it up in March, and I could study all these lines, and, I can really go over, and I could really sit with the character. But it's ego, and I'm sorry to say, I really firmly believe that director was a sadist. I looked at him in the eyes, and he had a gleam in his eye of sadism, and he was like, "What's wrong?" That's how he talked. He's like, "You can't do it." So that was the big, in our generation, the boomers sometimes treated us like that, and maybe they got it from the greatest generation that was, in World War II. But it's this sadism, and everyone has their own talents. That's not saying everyone's evil, everyone's narcissistic, but it's this kind of like do or die, show us what you got, prove everything to us. And, it was so unfair, and Brandon really wanted me to bring up this experience because it was so unfair, guys, because, I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to work at this theater, continue to work at this theater, but I knew that I couldn't do that role justice. And it was not just the head injury. I'm getting older, but I couldn't imagine memorizing a book in 3 weeks. And then I had done plays at that theater, and they treated it like we were in a Broadway show, and the stress and the drama. And so we're getting into a whole nother area where we're talking about, being sensitive, being diligent, being conscientious. Like when Brandon was working on The Crow, the atmosphere was not diligent, it was not sensitive, it was not conscientious. So when you're working in these arts, acting, music, theater, we've got very sensitive people. So I'm very sensitive. All these men here are very sensitive. Working with people who, this is no offense, but some of them are not very sensitive, meaning like just even their systems, and some of them are, but you get pushed past your limit. It's very unhealthy, it's dangerous. And yeah, my brother Freddy, the OSHA inspector's like, it doesn't have to be this way, guys. Like, we've got to look out for each other. We've got to, it's not sexy, it's not cool, but that part of the business needs to be worked on. And everything that has come out with like Harvey Weinstein and all of that, like that's another seedy part. And I've had some bad experiences myself, just in very, very small areas, people that just had a little bit of power trying to take advantage, and they're all bowing their heads because they're men, and none of them did that. None of them in this room did that. I had people try to do that to me, and when I didn't comply, I got shamed and pushed out. And that's a female thing. This is more, I don't want to, go down that path too far, because this is about the men here. They're here to protect us. And, Brandon was laughing. He's like, this isn't going to be the cool video that a lot of people think it's going to be. So I wrote here, sets need trained professionals and proper budgets. There's too much sadism, narcissism in the business. And we've got to, in all businesses, stop perpetuating sacrifice. We'll sacrifice for the show, physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, and sexual, the A word. I want to get my video flagged, but the A word for taken advantage of, abuse. Okay. Whew, they went into, okay, we'll go back to that, a very dark, very, very dark place. But so yes, that movie was cursed, sort of like, not, it was cursed in the fact that it was all these inexperienced people trying to prove themselves, act tough in all the areas of the film, and things weren't handled properly. There were lots of accidents before his accident. People in production, they were simultaneously, there's this energy that Brandon's talking about where people are simultaneously green and experienced, but they act really tough and they're very defensive. So it gets to this point where nobody wants to, everybody's like triggered very easily. Nobody wants to have proper communication because everyone's just like, yeah, I got it. And I had that happen so much. I had my own show in New York, and I'd have texts come in, and they wouldn't respond to my emails. They were too cool for school. And then I'd say like, oh, are you ready? And I would have it all listed for Spotify, and they would ruin my show because they'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna use, YouTube or something, and then the timing was different, and they'd mess it all up because they weren't prepared. But I always knew who wasn't prepared because they were always uptight, hard to talk to, wouldn't make eye contact, acted like they were better than me. And like he said, that's the vibe that was like going around, and that's why people were hurt, and he was, taken out. It was an accident, but it was negligence. The same thing for Bruce Lee. Like, it was an accident, but it was negligent of that particular medicine. And then they're all saying narcissism and immaturity hurt people and end lives. And when you're hiring people for these technical jobs, the young people were hiring on looks, attitude, and bravado. And they're laughing. They're like, that's fine for a bar. Yeah. My brother's like, he's wearing his Boy Scout uniform. He's like, safety. I love you, Freddy. We need watchdogs for people who, to make sure that people are qualified for their jobs. Okay, so I said I wanted to go back. Okay, there's something all these men want to talk about. And it's a very tough subject. And if you're very sensitive, please just don't listen now. There's something they want to bring to my attention, and Jesus is here, and Saint Francis of Assisi is here. The spirit of Santa is here. There is a history with men that is not talked about. Men throughout the ages, in order to establish dominance over other men, will this is done in prison. When they say don't bend over for the soap, that activity is done in prison. And just like it's done to women, the R word, it is done to men. And so many men have had this happen to them, guys. And so many men don't talk about this. And it happens a lot with step parents, relatives, people they know. My brother's wearing his Boy Scout uniform. Yes, guys. So you got to know my videos go deep sometimes. But Biggie and Tupac are like, yes, in their communities too. Single mothers, charming guy swoops in and sees her children as their property and does not love their children properly. Many, many men will come into a family situation, and without love, they want to give discipline. And sometimes that is how they establish dominance. It's humiliating, it's shameful, it leads the children to early deaths. we're not going to point out who here. Early deaths, gangs, drugs, street stuff, low self-esteem, Kurt Cobain just said, loss of talent. Oh, if you see, guys, okay, another thing they want to talk about is it's called binge eating disorder. Many men have this. They're protecting their bodies. That's not the only reason why a man would have that, but a good guy sometimes who maybe more of like a nerdy type guy who doesn't get into like street stuff might just start overeating. Yeah, my brother and Biggie are shaking their heads, and this is all related. And why are they here? They want this kind of abuse. I wasn't supposed to say that word. They want this kind of behavior to stop. So if you're watching this video, I'm either making you aware of this or reminding you of this. If there's any way that you want to honor these men, you're not sure what to do with your life, maybe you'd like to work in a field that can help children. And actually they're saying like, it's not a contest, but it's more acceptable for women to say that that happened to them. And they're saying many, many, many men have had that happen to them. Sometimes it makes them upset with their moms, especially if there was a divorce. And then they go on to have, negative feelings towards women. Okay, that got super deep. And so Brandon's like, yep, he's an Aquarius. So he said it's time to get all of this more out in the open, talk about this. He said, this isn't a morning talk show. Okay, guys. So when Brandon will come back, he will come back with Bruce. They're going to come back together, and Brandon is talking about he might be a Pisces when he comes back. Kurt's like, it's not all cracked up to me, but Brandon is going to, we carry our talents and what we've learned, and he's learning a lot on the other side. And they're like, you're doing good, because I'm kind of like, this is getting okay. So Brandon is going to combine what he learned when he was here with what he's learning there, and he's going to combine it, and he's going to be a little bit more of a sophisticated actor. And he's going to still bring that physicality in. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if it will be in my lifetime. Probably not. And I just found out really good news about a young male relative that I have. So I'm really happy about that. Yay! And guys, I've been doing a lot of male stuff lately, but I have some women I'm going to be bringing into. I used to be a little bit of a tomboy, but I'm not favoring the men. It's just that when it comes to these dark topics, you got to see where a lot of men are falling through the cracks. A lot of young boys are not being heard. There are a lot of, they're talking about Johnny Depp. A lot of men are in domestic situations with a toxic female partner. So, whew, okay. And I actually just started another channel called Freddy the Scapegoat. So that's for my brother. So if you want to check that out. I've only done a couple videos. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap that up. I think you all get the point. And maybe I will bring in Bruce Lee in his own separate video. He's like, yeah, down the road, because he knows I have a lot of people to do. And Brandon might come back. He's just an amazing, sweet soul. Very sweet. And he's gonna do some harder acting. He's joking about his very Californian accent he had. And so yeah, they're bunching themselves up like a bunch of asparagus, because they know I'll just keep talking. So they're all gonna sort of leave together as one energy. All right, bye guys, love you. And bye to you guys, love you too.